Today we're flying out the AV-8A 9.3 American Premium Harrier. And as you could see in the intro, these missiles are pretty disgusting. And they're not disgusting in the way that a 9J, an SRAM, well, all those missiles are dirty. These are dirty because you can shoot them at very far ranges and because you can climb in so fast, because the low speed climb rate of this thing is absolutely insane. You can shoot them at high altitude, and at high altitude these missiles become very hard to dodge. You will catch a lot of people off guard that are going relatively slow, and these missiles at altitude become even faster. So if you shoot these at like 3 to 4 kilometers at high altitude, and you will see two examples of that pretty soon here, you will nail people from very far away, and they become very hard to dodge. But before I get into the gameplay, I have something I need to admit. I'm abusing a certain bug right here, and I'm doing this for the sake of this video because I want to showcase how stupid this actually is. The Harrier at 9.3 is already not okay. This thing should at least be 9.7, and that's just because of the acceleration it has. Sure, it's on rails, it doesn't turn well at all, and it's very easy to counter. The problem is, if the Harrier doesn't want you to catch him and he just keeps climbing to orbit, you will not catch him either. But what I'm abusing I will show relatively soon here. I will pass the opening phase here, and again I'm just dodging these F5s. F5s are the bane of your existence, and you will see plenty of that in this video. This plane is not easy mode. It's not at all. It's a very hard plane to fly. It loses all of its speed very soon. It doesn't turn whatsoever. It doesn't have any pull, and you can tell that even an AIM-9B or PL3 here, look how close that got. If that air bursted, I would have been dead. I need to keep in mind that guy only has one missile left. And with this plane, missiles are the bane of your existence, because you can go straight up, but you're a very hot target, and if you're going slow, you're not dodging anything in this plane, and you have to just keep that in mind. And Dinner Table shoots a second missile off, so I don't have to worry about his missiles anymore. But before I go into the gameplay here, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to show you what I have been doing to make this thing a little bit better than it should be. What you do, you take off, you pull your gear in, and if you go very slow, right above the ground, this is one of the first time I did it, so I'm pretty slow at it. Didn't record the one in the actual game, so I have to show you another example. So what you do, you pull your gear in, you go very slow, you go close to the ground. At this point I thought I had to be further from the runway, but you can actually do it right above the runway. You have to go like 5 meters back. And what you see on the screen right now is crash landing. On the bottom right you see that I crashed. But I have still full control of my vehicle and I have no damage whatsoever. But what does this do? This makes it so that it looks for the enemy that I'm dead. The enemy won't get any experience if they kill me, so people leave you alone for the most part. People don't want to go head on with you, people spot you later. There's so many benefits of this, so if you see a dead Harrier, most likely he's not actually dead. Dinner Table doesn't have missiles left, so I don't have to worry about him. I can just fly straight in front of him. Yippee yay. does have some missiles, I think, unless he shot some over that I didn't know about. But you need to be aware of these Harriers, because it might say that I'm dead, and I didn't want to abuse this, but I have. But I did want to make very clear to you guys that I am using this, and I want to get this out there, because I don't want to see people that keep dying to stealth Harriers, because that's basically what they are. If these things exist on a night map or low sun map, and you come out of the sun, you will spot him at about half the distance as if he would be alive. So they come out of nowhere, they really do. And people just ignore me. And that's a great feeling, because lately people have been going for me a lot, and they've been like, hey, I like your videos, whatever, and then they sit on my ass. That's very annoying. But with this, because it says that I'm dead, a lot of people have ignored me. And that's just absolutely amazing. But of course I used a bug for that, and I'm not proud of it, but I wanted to get this out there. But with that out of the way, what is this plane about? It's acceleration, the roll rate is very good, the guns are pretty good, but the only problem is that you don't have any breakout. So once you start pulling, your nose doesn't actually go anywhere. This thing is absolutely on rails. It feels like flying a Vautour with 45 minutes of fuel. Except it can roll and it doesn't rip. I haven't managed to rip this thing, but going defensive in this vehicle, if the guy is outrunning you, or if the guy is very close to you, it's a very big chore. Your low speed acceleration is very good, but you can't really use it, because if you go very slow, 9 out of 10 times you will just get missile. I haven't died in this thing, well, other than at the start of the match every game. I got very lucky, but that's also because people just straight up ignore me. I am dead. If I'm going slow and there's multiple people around, people won't go for me first. They think I'm dead, they won't get any RP from killing me, so they leave me alone. So my view is a little bit biased, but I still think that this thing should not be 9.3. And you can tell I'm using my web right now, and I will be absolutely outclimbing this dude. I'm using the sun so he can't lock me, because if I'm not doing that, he will just shoot me out of the air. And I want this F5 off me, because it shows that he has been using his energy. He's not been dropping his speed at all, and this makes it so that I can't really kill him. I don't have missiles left. I have 328 rounds of the Aidens, and that's plenty, but you will see that I will be very trigger happy in this thing. I have 200 rounds per gun. That's 25% more than the Hunter, which can already shoot for a very long time, but I want to be aware of this F5. F5s are the bane of your existence. They're roughly as fast as you, they turn much better than you, and they lose less speed. So if you ever think about dogfighting those guys, you're not going to win. And I made that shitpost video with the Harrier GR1 with the SRAMs, where I'm like stalling out, using the nozzles to turn with people. It's not realistic. We were screwing around, and I made a shitpost, and it got like 240,000 views. I don't know why, but people took that video way too serious. That's not what the Harrier is about. At low speed, at any speed, this thing does not turn. And I want to ingrain this in your mind, and it makes it very hard to fight anyone that keeps their speed. Just like these two F5s. These two F5s played it pretty well. They're not bad players whatsoever, but they can't really do a lot for this thing. As long as I play it safe, which I have, and you see that I'm very trigger happy and I just can't get the shots in. It's very hard to aim, and that's one of the biggest downfalls of this plane. If this thing turned any better, even though it loses this much speed, it would be insane. It would be very good. And this guy is not using his missiles, so I'm not sure if he has any left. Because I would assume that someone would shoot him, but he also knows that I'm paying attention. He probably doesn't know how well that I actually turn, if I can actually outturn these missiles. But at this altitude, it would be very hard for me to get rid of that missile and then outrun him. If he had missiled me here, I probably would have lost. Because I lose that much speed in the turn. He's already catching me, and he's going to get very close. I just ran out of my web, and for the most part, you want to use very low throttle in this thing. About 90%, otherwise you will overheat. And what I'm doing right here is trying to make him turn with me. He was catching me, I wasn't going to outrun him, so I had to engage in a dogfight, even though I was going to lose it. Luckily for me, he played it a bit too safe, because he broke off way too early, and he let me get away. The other F5 dies, they're in the squad, so that's a very good thing for me, because right now there's only one guy that's in an F5. Missed that one, just shot a little bit to the right. Not sure if the lead was correct, but I missed it nonetheless. And now, again, 95% throttle, I'm just gonna go flying straight. I want to get out of the area right here, and what I want to do is get some altitude. if I go lower speed, the lower speed I go, the better my climb rate is compared to them. The high speed climb rate of this thing is not very good, but the moment you go below 800 or 700 even, if you go below 400, this thing is absolutely insane. And you see them once you start the match and there's a Harrier on your team, you see he's just gone. Even if you're in an SMT in a 21 bis, F1 or 4S, it doesn't matter how well you accelerate, the Harrier will be gone first. And this thing has a stronger engine than the GL1. This thing, the AV-8A, the AV-8C, and as well as the Harrier GR3 are basically the exact same plane. All of that, of course, the 9.7 ones have the flares. But this thing at 9.3 is absolutely criminal and shouldn't be here. And it's not because it's that good. Because effectively this plane is very limited in its capabilities, but the energy that it can pull out of its ass is just, it's not okay. This thing can sit at altitude all day and you're not going to catch it. Because it can just climb away. And I think that's not okay, but that's completely up for debate if you agree with that or not, but I don't think that planes like the Yak 30 should face this thing. Like, come on. Sure, the Yak 30 will never hit it, but the Harrier will also never kill the Yak 30. It's gonna be an infinite stalemate. It's not fun for both parties. Balance wise, effectively wise, this thing is probably 9.3 material, sure, because you can counter it. But you also have to keep in mind that you cannot kill this thing if you're in a very low tier plane. I haven't gotten any down tiers. In general, I've been playing at 9.3 to 9.7. It's a very common BR. I haven't seen many MiG-15 bisses. I haven't seen many Swifts. I've seen a few. But I did about 25 games in this thing, got about 100 kills in the thing. And it's just a chore to fly. It really is. I didn't like it whatsoever, but it does have potential, especially in the squad. If people force each other slow and these things can run trains on you, they will just drain you out of energy. But of course that goes for most planes, so it's not very much noteworthy for me to say that. F5 right above me, and I'm going to be pitching straight up for him. And I should be able to catch him. And this is where my little mistake starts biting me in the ass. If you look at my nozzles on the right, you can tell that they're slanted downward slightly. And it makes sure that my acceleration is just that much worse. Otherwise I probably would have caught him here. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to catch him there, and this guy was pulling up for me. I kind of stuck too long on that F5, but I was expecting to catch him. But at the same time the nozzles kind of saved me, because I would have probably stuck longer and this F86K would have, well, killed me basically. Missed the head on, shoot a little bit to the right. And now I got a Shenyang very closely on me, and I'm going to show you how hard it is to get someone off your ass. He's close in the distance and I want to get as much separation as I can, and the nozzles here made it so that I accelerate just a little bit slower. And I think that the mistake with the nozzles actually saved me here, but you'll have to decide that one for yourself. He's very close. I need to maneuver, otherwise he's going to gun me down. Not sure if he has missiles left. I'm trying to see. Very hard to see, but I don't want to risk it because he hasn't shot them at me all game. I barely saw him shoot at all. He's not shooting his guns, he's not shooting his missiles. And it feels like he has something, he's waiting for me to fly straight. He's probably not shooting here, trying to bait me to fly straight, and then he missiles me. So I really want to be aware of that. Because I have a gut feeling it's going to come. I'm trying to go a little bit vertical here because my acceleration will become better the lower or the slower we go. And there's the missile. Just get out of the way. That came from the right wingtip, so that means he did actually shoot a missile. And he's now out, so now I should be alright in terms of missiles. He turns his afterburner on and is now catching me. And he makes a critical mistake. He pulls off. He's basically flying straight. He allows me to cut back in. I got 100 rounds per guns of Aidens and I shoot both his wingtips off. I'm not going to allow him to get away. I'm not going to tap fire. There's only 2 guys left and I want to make sure that they are dead. I will make sure that I use as much ammo as I need. Why he pulled off, I have no idea. If you're watching this, please let me know, because it struck me very weirdly, because you have a teammate behind me, J Black can't really take off, and you're on my 6. Like, if you just airbroke me, I would have been dead. There's nothing I could have done. I don't know what your plan was, it doesn't really matter, but at this point his engine is also out, and he won't be doing a lot anymore. And I think that because my nozzles were slightly downwards, that I was able to pull into that shot and actually get rid of him, other than creating another stalemate. Shenyangs are just the bane of your existence in this thing, and you really want to take care of them. And you could see that if he was a little bit slower, if he had not turned into my guns, and you can tell right now as well, my turn rate is non-existent. Yes, I can use my nozzles to turn a little bit, but does it really do that much? Like, does it really improve your turn rate that much? Sure, it does a little bit, but the turn rate that you have is already non-existent. And now we're left with an F-86K, which turns better than me actually, which is pretty ironic to say, because the F-86K turns like absolute dog shit. But yeah, the thing about these nozzles is they're pretty finicky, and they just don't help you out that much. Sure, a little bit, but that's beside the point. They're just so easy to forget about, because it's the only plane that uses them. Sure, if you're gonna specialize in the Harrier, what you might want to do is set it up so that once you start turning, that they turn down a little bit and it gives you some extra turn. That's maybe an idea. That's something I probably will do if I ever fly Harrier again, but I absolutely despise these things. I don't enjoy them, so you probably won't see me do that. Decide for yourself if you think this plane is worth it. I think it's extremely good, and I think that the bug that is right now, that the dead Harrier thing, the ghost Harrier thing, it should be fixed. It's an absolute pain in the ass to fight, and even if I go for the Harrier, if I kill it, I don't even get rewarded for it because he's already quote unquote dead, and I think they should fix this. Same with the kill system. You hit someone, he flies into the ground within 20 seconds and he crashes. Like, there's already enough of this shit going around. It just would be great if some of that would be fixed. Start off with this ghost Harrier thing. You're probably going to see a lot more now that I pointed it out, but I would really like to see this thing fixed. Here comes the F-86K. He's dogfighting J Black. J Black is almost stuck. This guy is almost stalled out. Look at it. I can't pull any lead. I basically had the shot. I rolled in, but he rolled a little bit as well, and I couldn't get my nose on because this nose just doesn't move. This hunter ignores me yet again, and I just miss because again I don't pull enough lead. I can't pull any AOA. Make sure I dodge his guns because I'm not too sure if he tries to kill me or not. Because let's be honest, I might be quote unquote dead, but if I fly through his guns, big chance he's going to kill me regardless. F-86K here is going up still. He's very slow, and this speed even I won't miss. And there he goes. And now it's 2v1, just a hunter left. But I don't want to show you too much gameplay anymore because he just goes head on with J Black and he kills him, and that's a game. A few games later, this time my nozzles are actually slanted forward, and because I'm a little bit later and I'm side climbing, I just fly behind all the Vautours. Very easy pickings. I come in from the side, shoot the first guy down, and this gameplay is gonna be very still, but I need something to talk about as everyone just dies in the background. Vautour rams into the base, not sure how he manages that. Don't want to waste my ammo, don't want to waste my time getting close to him, so I just shoot an aim-down-G at him, relatively far away. Look at that thing curve, and you're gone. I say look at that thing curve, but let's be honest, it's a Vautour. And that's 2 kills in a very early stage of the game, and I'm going to get 6 kills in this game, a very quick one. And none of the kills are going to be skillful, so no, I'm not trying to show off by getting a high kill number, because this game was absolute ass. But it doesn't matter. That's just how most of your games are going to look like. Of course, not most of your games are going to be 6 kill games, but I got a lot of 3, 4, maybe 5 kill games even. That was just so incredibly boring. I did 24 games, and only the last game, the one before this one, was actually worth anything. Like, I showed you it, I saw that I absolutely screwed up my nozzles, and I'm just sitting there debating, should I upload this game? And I'm like, it's the best I'm going to get. I fought 2 F5s that knew what they were doing to a certain degree. They were flying it smart at least. I got a decent fight out of it. I showed you the strengths and the weaknesses, and that's all I can do with this thing. It's such a straightforward plane, and I don't think that if you're really good or really bad that this plane will be much better or worse. It's the same with the Yak 38 I'm about to kill because he stalled out. This plane has just such a low skill ceiling, and that's just because it doesn't matter how good you are at a certain point, you can't get more out of this plane. The only thing you can do is maybe force a VTOL fight and then meme on him with your guns, but even then it's not a smart thing to do, because the VTOL absolutely kills your speed, and if the guy just goes straight up, he's gone. You're not going to be catching him, and you're going to die, and that's just how it is. It's a very boring plane to fly, in my opinion. The SRAM one was a little bit more fun, because it gives you a lot more range in how you can engage, because the missiles go every direction. SRAMs are of course completely stupid, but you also have to keep in mind that that thing is now 10.3, and at 10.3 you're going to be fighting supersonics a lot. 10.3, 10.7, occasional down tier, but I think I've only seen the 10.0 ones about 2 times in 24 games, and I get up tiered quite frequently on average. Of course that doesn't really matter in a statistical standpoint, but Normally I get a lot of up tiers. I haven't seen a lot of Harriers. I just haven't. So keep that in mind. This one, as well as the 2 Tech Tree variants, are all the exact same except for the flares on the other 2. And the 10.0 one has a weaker engine. So keep that in mind, it's a little bit different. I don't think I'm gonna do a Harrier GR1 video unless people really want to see it. But I wouldn't know why, because it's just a boring as hell plane. There you go, full command handle with a VOW tool. I killed 3 bombers now, killed a guy stalled out, and I missiled a hunter flying straight. Yeah, very interesting, isn't it? And now I'm going to be rushing the airfield, because there has been this guy that's just AFK for the entire match. There he is, 0 points. Right on the airfield. And there you go, time to get him. Actually a gamer moment, shot of the century, 1 kilometer snipe. Wow, I'm so good at this game. There you go, 6 kills, and I quote unquote died. I do keep in mind that you don't have to pay any repair cost if you do this, so it's a blatant exploit, and I would really like it if you could share this around, so as many as people as possible will know that you have to kill these stealth Harriers, because a lot of people have been abusing it, even though people aren't really aware of it. So keep your eye out for invisible Harriers. See you all very soon, and have a good one.